Welcome back to my channel. This is Donald, and today I want to talk about why parenting can sometimes be exhausting. And I just want to cover some of the steps on how to stop the burnout and start parenting in an easier way. Parenting shouldn't feel like a 24/7 endurance test, yet so many parents feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and unseen. No one is designed to do it all. However, some parents seem to have more energy than others. And why is that? We'll look at the symptoms, the problem, and I'll provide some simple steps that you can implement today in your own home if you're feeling exhausted. Some of the signs of a burnout, there's physical signs like waking up tired even though you got proper sleep, having headaches throughout the day, or digestive issues. Some of the emotional signs you may be experiencing burnout are irritability or having a short fuse, feeling guilty for not doing enough, and being overwhelmed, which keeps you in this position of being stuck. And some of the mental signs of burnout can be a mental fog or a forgetfulness. It can even manifest as negative self-talk or becoming easily distracted. What are the contributing factors to burnout? Juggling schedules, priorities, and other household tasks that all of us parents have to do on the daily. And these tasks are even more difficult when you have young children, for example, because they really depend on you. And sometimes the child dependency can be a bit much. One mom counted hearing her kid call her Mom 234 times in one day. Sometimes children become really super dependent on you and they keep calling out your name and they're bugging you all the time. And the sad part is sometimes we give our kids distractions, devices, cell phones, or video games just to get them off of our back so that we can function. You got to make dinner. You got to do this other thing, go to the store, or whatever. You give your kid a device and you go along your way. But that just means that you're distracting your child and teaching them to be distracted themselves, right? It may be a short-term solution, but cause long-term problems. 2/3 of parents report feeling lonely or unsupported due to the demands of parenting. What's really going on? Your body's waving the burnout flag, and it's a sign that maybe some changes are needed at home. And this is not a matter of being lazy. That's what a lot of people like to say about burnout. Oh, they like to be dismissive about it and say, oh, you're just being lazy. You can kind of take this from a guy who tried to be everything to everyone. I spent a lot of my life trying to do this and do that, be the great husband, be the great father, be great at work, and go above and beyond. And I really pushed myself. And in my own mind, I was telling myself, oh, I'm a superhero. But my mind forgot to have a discussion with my body because they eventually caught up to each other. Everybody will eventually hit their limit and suffer from burnout if you're doing the same sort of things that I used to do. I have this system that I found about 3 years ago called Human Design, and it explains a lot about what's going on with burnout. About 30% of people on this planet have what's called an undefined sacral center. And when it's undefined, it's going to be inconsistent. And this is our internal life force battery that gives us the energy to do the work that we love to do. Well, this becomes a matter of managing our energy, and efficiency becomes a key factor just to get through the day. If you have an undefined sacral, our manifestors, our projectors, and reflectors, the energy just isn't there all the time, and that's okay. You need to find another way of moving through life. And even for the other 70% of people who are generators or sacrally defined, they can still reach a state of burnout like I did. Because They reach burnout when they're not using their energy the way they should be using it. For example, when they're doing all the things that their mind is telling them, and at the end of the day, they didn't get anything done that they wanted to do, it feels bad inside when you're not using your energy in a productive way that supports yourself. Why do these things lead to burnout? Well, for the 30% where the sacral's not defined, you just don't know when enough is enough. Sometimes you might have a fifth line in your design. And what that means is you're here to come with the solutions and fixes to problems. But when you don't have a practical solution and you haven't been invited to fix whatever the problem is, sometimes you can be just wasting your energy on things. And for our fourth lines, who are all about keeping the family and friends together, these people tend to have a hard time finding balance in their life because you need time alone to get your energy back, but you also need to spend time with friends. And there could be this fear that you're missing out. You could be spending a lot of time out there with your friends, managing their problems, which can lead to burnout. Now, these aren't flaws. These are design features that you can work with within the human design system. And it's not all that bad. And this is how we can begin to flow in life. We need to shift our mind to our inner compass. How can we shift the direction of our own life then? Well, the mind is great at doing one thing, measuring things. And it never stops evaluating everything around you. However, when we make mental decisions, the results can vary greatly. You can find yourself in a predicament where you're doing something that you never even intended doing, and it just feels bad for everybody involved. Now, your inner compass is actually your body and your strategy and authority. Your body knows how to live the life. And when you leave the decisions to the body, it already knows what to do. Because at the end of the day, the body came from the earth. And then our personality, which likes to think about everything and perceive things, didn't come from the earth. It came to inhabit the body for a period of a life. Here are some practical steps you can use to turn this all around. You need to set boundaries that support your design. Boundaries like if you're a projector, for example, like you don't have the energy to do everything, you need to ask for help. Or you need to say one person at a time and manage it that way. If you're a manifester and you have this great idea for something that's new, you don't have to do everything yourself. See who you can inform to help you, right? Put the word out there. And if you're a reflector, you can always be guided by your authority, the moon. And that'll help you figure out which days are more appropriate for you to get stuff done and which days where you might need to ask for some help. Now, this is not a bad position to be in, not having the energy to do everything. It just means that you navigate the world differently than the generators. See, whereas generators may have the energy to do things, they don't know what to do, and they're constantly being pulled off track. How all these mechanics work is when you don't have the energy to do things all the time, what you can do is ask for help. As a generator myself, if nobody asks me for my energy, I don't have a response to using it. And the energy needs to be used. Then the mind may cut in and say, oh, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? And then you get yourself into all sorts of trouble. When no one's asking, because they're playing coy or shy, this can lead to bad things. If you're the parent of a generator child and you're not asking them for their energy and you don't have a defined sacral, you're pretty well missing out on half of life right there, because they could be helping you out in the kitchen, they could be taking out the trash. You just need to be asking them. And I know a lot of parents are like, why should I have to ask my kids? They should just know to do these things. Well, sadly, kids and even adults need to be asked for their energy. And another thing you can also look at is don't get involved if you're, remember I was speaking about the line fives, don't get involved in fixing things if you really don't have the practical solution or haven't been invited to fix the problem. When there's no invite, it's kind of like you're poking your way into a situation and using your energy for something that your mind is telling you needs to be fixed, but the other person doesn't recognize it needs to be fixed. It doesn't feel good for anybody in that scenario. And I tell you, I was there before in my own life. The way you avoid this is by coming up with a practical solution, offering it, and if the other person accepts it, then they accept it. And if they don't, you just got to meet people where they're at sometimes. You just got to let it go. And then also, if you have a lot of line fours in your design and you're maintaining the balance of a lot of your family and friends, this can spread you a little bit too thin. Taking some time to be alone with yourself, self-care is very important. You're not going to miss anything. You can always get the updates from friends and family after the event. You don't have to go to every event. You're not going to miss out because there's a real fear of missing out when you have a fourth line in your design. In summary, no one needs to suffer from burnout, and it might just be a choice that you're unconsciously making for yourself, like to be in that burnout state. It's time to kind of change things around at home and become more conscious of what's going on and take control of your own life. Your best self emerges when you work in alignment with how you're actually designed to move through the world. And an energized version of yourself that is present is waiting for your family to discover. It's inside yourself. If you're curious about your own design, or you liked anything I said in this video, drop a comment in the comments section below. You can request a free basic human design report or discovery call to see if any of my services are correct for you on my website, and I'll put that in the description below. I offer right now what's called the Hidden Path Parenting Map, which includes 3 one-on-one sessions with supporting documents and 2 weeks of email and aftercare, basically providing you a map on who you are in the family, who your children are, and how it can all work together in a cohesive and flowing way in your home. All those details are going to be in the description below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks.